You're here because you're tired of being the one who always gives, always reaching out, always waiting on a text back, tired of being the guy she only remembers when it's convenient. And deep down, you know something has to change. This video changes everything, because when you stop explaining, chasing, reacting, when you stop giving her the energy she used to feed off, her world starts shaking. Today I'll show you 7 silent moves that dismantle a woman's ego without you saying a word, and while she's trying to understand what went wrong, you'll be out there rebuilding your entire life. And if you don't apply what I'm about to tell you, you'll stay in the same cycle, giving everything, getting nothing. Comment, "I choose peace," if you're ready to reclaim every part of yourself she thought she owned. Number 1. Stop chasing her. Every man watching this knows what it's like to chase a woman who barely notices you until it's convenient for her, to keep checking your phone hoping for a reply, to send her thoughtful messages that go ignored or get short replies like, "Your time means nothing, your presence means nothing, you mean nothing," and yet you still hang on because you think if you do one more thing, say the right thing, prove your value just a little more, maybe she'll finally give you the love you've been fighting for. But deep down, you already know she's not confused, she's not busy, she's not unsure, she's uninterested, and the only reason she keeps you close is to remind herself that she can, that she has access to you whenever she pleases, because you've taught her that no matter how she treats you, you'll always show up. And the worst part is that this cycle makes you smaller every day. It eats at your confidence, makes you doubt your worth, strips you of your identity until you're operating from desperation instead of dignity. But the moment you stop chasing, when you finally decide to detach without drama or announcement, that's when everything changes, not just in her perception of you, but in how you see yourself. Because the truth is, the version of you who chases is not your best version. It's the one trained by emotional starvation, shaped by rejection, and conditioned to believe you must earn basic respect. But you don't. And when you stop chasing, when you stop reaching out, when you stop justifying your value to someone who refuses to see it, something inside you realigns. And that quiet shift isn't just felt by her, it's felt by you in your focus, in your energy, in your clarity. You start to reclaim every part of yourself that you gave away piece by piece, in the name of keeping her interested. And it doesn't happen overnight. But the more space you create between you and the idea that you have to fight to matter, the more your mind clears up, and you begin to realize that the only reason she ever held power over you was because you kept handing it to her every time you responded, chased, explained, begged, or forgave things that broke your self-respect. And I get it. It's hard to stop chasing when you've built your identity around fixing something that's broken, around getting closure, around finally being seen. But understand this. She's not the problem anymore. Your attachment to the fantasy of her is, and it's keeping you stuck, so you break free by cutting the source of that fantasy off. Not loudly, not emotionally, not in anger, just with distance, just with discipline, because you're no longer living to prove something to someone who couldn't care less about proving anything to you. And the best part is, as you begin to walk away, truly walk away, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, her ego starts to panic. Not because she loves you, but because she lost her grip on someone she thought would always be there. And what she doesn't realize is that your silence isn't a game, it's a decision. And that decision frees you to rediscover everything she tried to distract you from. Your purpose, your values, your peace, and most importantly, your standards. And if you want to know how to start right now, write down all the ways you've abandoned yourself in this pursuit, all the times you tolerated her disrespect, her inconsistency, her emotional distance, and then commit to one thing. Never again be available for what makes you doubt your worth. Because when you truly stop chasing her, you don't just destroy her ego. You rebuild the man you were meant to be. And when you finally stop chasing her and start chasing the man you were meant to become, that's where everything begins to change. Not just your relationships, but your entire identity. If you're serious about taking that shift deeper, I want you to know, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint is now available. Not just as a book, but as a powerful audiobook you can listen to while walking, training, driving, or just clearing your mind. It's filled with timeless Stoic principles that will rebuild the way you think and move through life as a man. You won't just listen to it, you'll feel it. You'll start to ask better questions. What do I truly value? Why do I keep giving my peace away? How do I stop letting women control my emotions? And how do I become the kind of man I never have to apologize for again? This audiobook is yours forever. No subscription. Just raw, permanent knowledge in your hands for life. The link is in the comments. Don't wait for another breakdown to decide it's time to level up. Number 2. Don't react to her games. The moment you stop reacting is the moment she starts losing the grip she thought she'd never lose. And if you're honest with yourself, you already know she plays games. Not openly, not obviously, but subtly and strategically. And the reason it works so well is because you let it. Because every time she sends a vague message, posts a story you know is about you, likes a photo she hasn't seen in months, or hits you with a "hope you're doing well" text out of nowhere, you're already caught in the loop where your emotions betray your logic, where you start over-analyzing her moves instead of checking yourself. Because deep down, you still want to believe she cares, and that small flicker of hope makes you reply. Makes you engage, makes you give her what she wants, without her ever having to give you what you deserve. And this is how she keeps you stuck, by breadcrumbing your attention, dangling the possibility of closeness, just enough to keep your heart confused, but never enough to bring clarity. And while you're busy decoding her mixed signals, she's feeding her ego with the knowledge that you're still emotionally tied to her, that no matter how far she pulls away, one baited message is all it takes to reel you back in, and that should piss you off. Not because she does it, but because you allow it. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped living in your power and started living in her story. And that's not where you belong. So starting now, you commit to a new standard. One where your energy is not up for manipulation, where your emotional reactions are no longer controlled by someone who couldn't even be consistent with their affection. And I'm not talking about ignoring her to play hard to get. I'm talking about developing the kind of self-control and internal strength that makes her games irrelevant, that makes her tests powerless, because the man who doesn't react is the man who can't be used, who can't be steered off his path by temporary validation or empty attention. And she's not used to that. She's used to you folding, typing back paragraphs, explaining how you feel, begging for understanding. But that version of you has to die right here, because until you stop reacting, you'll never start healing. And healing begins with space, not just from her, but from the parts of yourself that seek validation from someone who constantly disrespects your worth. And yes, she'll notice. She'll feel the absence of your response louder than any words you could say. She'll test the silence. She'll bait you harder, and in those moments, your power is forged. Not in what you say, but in what you don't. In the strength to look at her chaos and stay grounded. In the clarity to recognize her manipulation and choose your peace. And if you want to make this real, delete the idea that she holds value over your emotions. Stop checking if she saw your story. Stop waiting for her next message. Stop letting her energy pull you off course and start asking better questions. What am I building that she's distracting me from? What kind of man am I becoming while she's still playing the same tired games? Because once you truly stop reacting, you'll see her for what she really is. A test, a mirror of the parts of you that still need healing. And when you pass that test by staying focused, by not engaging, by moving forward without needing her to notice. You win, not because you got her back, but because you got yourself back, and no woman can break the man who no longer gives her the power to. Number 3. Level up in silence. She expects your world to stop spinning the moment she walks away because she believes you have nothing beyond her attention. She assumes your strength only existed as long as she gave you access to her, and she quietly anticipates the day you post something cryptic, hoping to show her you're okay while secretly still wanting her to see it. But the real move, the one that shatters her expectations and forces her to question everything, is when you say nothing, show nothing, and grow in silence without any need for her to notice, because that kind of transformation is not just about moving on. It's about reinventing the man who used to need her validation, and every man watching this has at some point gotten caught in that trap of wanting to appear okay for the very person who made you feel not good enough, posting gym selfies and quotes and flexing your progress, hoping she'll double tap or watch your story and think, maybe she lost a good one. But that's not growth, that's still reacting. And growth is when you grind in the shadows, when you wake up early to train not for attention, but for discipline, when you hit the books to learn new skills, not to make her regret leaving but to secure your future, when you start cleaning your space, sharpening your style, improving your health, building your bank account, not for show, but because you finally decided that your life is worth building for you. And when you do this consistently, without sharing it, without broadcasting it, you start developing a confidence that doesn't depend on what anyone thinks, especially her. And that's what gets her attention, not because you tried, but because you disappeared and became someone she no longer recognizes, someone who no longer seeks her approval. And that silence, that lack of visibility, becomes the loudest message you've ever sent. Not because you intended it to be, but because it represents a man who no longer needs her gaze to feel powerful. And the reason this works is because it forces her to fill in the blanks, and women don't handle unanswered questions well when they're used to knowing exactly where they stand with you. So when you vanish, not physically, but from the attention economy she depended on to measure your interest, she starts asking herself why you don't seem to care, who you've become, and if she ever really knew you. And in those moments, while she's sitting in confusion, you're sitting in evolution. And if you want to know how to execute this right now, you start by cutting the need to show your progress to anyone. Delete the apps that distract you, cut the time you waste scrolling for dopamine, and replace it with hard discipline. Start running 3 times a week, read 1 book a month, invest part of every paycheck, clean up your diet, cut dead conversations, learn how to sell, how to present, how to lead. And every time you get tempted to post something for her to see, sit with yourself and ask, who am I doing this for? And if the answer isn't for your future self, you already know you're off track, and you can course correct in that moment. Because the real glow-up isn't physical, it's internal. It's how calm you become under pressure, how solid you become in uncertainty, how little her opinion affects your moves, and you know you're on the right path when people start telling you you've changed. When you start saying no to things that used to tempt you, when peace becomes more exciting than attention, when results mean more than recognition. And that kind of evolution makes you dangerous, not in the sense of harm, but in the sense that you've stopped being predictable, stopped being manipulatable, stopped being emotionally available for nonsense. And when she comes back, and yes, she will, it's not because she's healed, it's because your silence became the most intimidating version of yourself she ever faced, and you're no longer even thinking about her because you've turned your pain into production, and you don't even recognize the version of you who used to beg for her attention, because the man you're becoming now, in quiet and in focus, would never chase someone who didn't respect his time the first time around. Number 4. Let her drown in her drama. She doesn't come back because she's sorry. She comes back because her drama caught up to her. And you were the last place she felt safe before she burned the bridge. She's not returning with growth. She's returning with chaos, hoping you'll be the emotional shelter again, the patient listener, the forgiving heart, the soft place to land after she disrespected you, discarded you, downplayed your presence, and if you're not careful, you'll pick up the same role you swore you'd never play again, not because you want to, but because you're still emotionally entangled in a fantasy where her return means she's changed. But let me tell you this clearly. She didn't change. She circled back because the attention dried up, the validation ran out, the other guy didn't save her, and now she needs somewhere to dump her confusion. And she knows you used to be that guy, the fixer, the one who'd drop everything to prove your loyalty. And if you're not grounded, you'll be flattered by the fact that she remembered you. But don't be, because she didn't come back for you. She came back for relief, and the moment she gets it, she'll be gone again. And you'll be left wondering how she could do it twice. But it's not about what she did. It's about what you allow. And if you really want to shift your life and stop being the man she keeps on the shelf for rainy days, you have to do something most men are too scared to do. Stop saving women from their own mess. Let them sit in the fire they started. Let them deal with the consequences of pushing away good men, because only then do they ever face themselves. And your job isn't to fix her emotional state. It's to master your own. And the more you make yourself her safety net, the more she disrespects you, because no one values what they can abuse without consequence. And she knows your patterns better than you do. She knows which messages to send, which words to use, which tears to fake, which memories to bring up just to get you emotionally cracked open again. But the difference between the man who stays stuck and the man who levels up is this. One needs closure, the other creates it. And you create it by not responding, not rushing, not reaching back when she's reaching out of fear. You create it by understanding that her problems are not yours to solve, especially when she caused them by disrespecting the very peace you offered her. And it doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. It makes you rooted. It makes you unavailable to dysfunction dressed up as unfinished business. And if she's falling apart, let her, because you're not her father, not her therapist, not her fixer. And if she respected you, she wouldn't have put you in a position to prove yourself again. So when she spirals, when she gets messy, when she lashes out, because your silence is louder than her breakdown, understand that it's not your job to decode her behavior. It's your responsibility to stay focused on the life you're building. Because if every time she has a meltdown you drop what you're doing to soothe her ego, you'll never build anything worth living for. And the real tragedy isn't that she keeps testing you. It's that you keep failing the test by responding. But you can stop that today by choosing stillness over reaction, by choosing presence over participation, by refusing to lower your energy just because someone else hasn't done the work to manage theirs. And I know what you're thinking. It feels wrong to leave someone hanging, especially someone you used to care about. But let me ask you, where were they when you were breaking down? When you were unsure of yourself? When you needed support? They weren't there because they were too focused on themselves. So why are you sacrificing your progress to catch someone who never caught you? The man who wins is not the one who saves her again. It's the one who lets her learn through her own downfall, the one who stops letting sympathy override self-respect, the one who no longer offers peace to someone who thrives in chaos. And if you're serious about this shift, next time she reaches out, don't delete her message, don't block her impulsively, don't even reply. Just see it, smile, and move on with your day, because the best response is not rage, not sarcasm, not long texts. It's no response at all. It's you being too busy, too focused, too dialed into your goals to entertain the same emotional circus you've already seen play out. And when she realizes that her drama doesn't affect you anymore, that you've become unshakable, that you've outgrown the role of her emotional punching bag, that's when the power dynamic shifts permanently, not because you fought back, but because you finally walked away for good. Number 5. Be unavailable. There was a time when she could reach you any time, and you'd answer like she was oxygen. When her name on your screen made your heart skip because you thought maybe, just maybe, this time she wants to try again, but what she really wanted was control, not connection. And what you have to understand right now is that being constantly available made you cheap in her eyes. And women never value what's too easy to reach, because the effort they don't have to put in becomes the attention they stop respecting. And you know exactly what I mean if you've ever waited all day for her reply only to get a dry sentence. If you've ever kept your schedule open for her and she cancelled last minute, like your time was a joke. If you've ever been on standby emotionally and mentally hoping today's the day she realizes you're the one, but you're not a backup plan, you're not a spare tire, you're a man with a mission, and the only way she starts seeing your value again, if ever, is by realizing your time no longer revolves around her moods, her schedule, or her drama. And the way you do this is simple. You disappear, not in anger, but in purpose. You stop replying instantly. You stop being the first to reach out. You let her texts sit unread, not as a tactic, but because you're genuinely too locked into your path to entertain meaningless small talk. And you're not rude, you're focused. You don't ghost out of bitterness. You evolve in silence out of clarity. And the more you stay unavailable, the more she starts to feel your absence in her ego, because she depended on your constant energy to feel secure, to feel wanted, to feel powerful. But that's no longer your problem, and every minute you're not responding is a minute you're investing into yourself, into your money, your mindset, your strength, your peace. And when you start moving this way, something shifts in her, not because she loves you, but because she can't figure out why she no longer controls the rhythm of your life. And she'll throw bait at you to try to see if you're still watching. Photos, indirect stories, sudden memories sent in a message. But all of it means nothing if you've truly upgraded your mind, because now you've replaced attention with goals, replaced replies with discipline, replaced waiting on her with working on you. And if you want to make this real, set boundaries she never saw coming. Don't text her back after 9. Don't cancel your plans to see her. Don't check her page when you feel lonely. And instead, build habits that make your absence permanent in her psyche. Wake up at 5. Train with intensity. Set income targets. Build a project that demands your attention so fully she feels like an afterthought in your world. And when she finally notices you're no longer giving her the priority she once enjoyed, she'll panic. Not because she lost love, but because she lost leverage. And that's when the tables turn. But by then, you won't care, because the man you're becoming is too valuable to offer free access to a woman who treated your time like an option. Number 6. Let go without words. You don't need to explain yourself to someone who never respected your presence in the first place. You don't owe closure to the woman who had the chance to understand you and chose to ignore your heart every single time, because letting go is not about convincing her it's time to move on. It's about finally realizing you've wasted enough of your energy trying to make someone see what they never wanted to see, and that's the truth too. Many men are afraid to face. They keep thinking one more text, one last conversation, one final moment of vulnerability will finally break through and make her realize what she had. But if she didn't get it when you were at your most open, she won't get it now that you're walking away. And the longer you try to explain your absence, the more power you give her to feel justified in disrespecting your presence. And real growth, real evolution, real power is when you walk away with no words left, no text sent, no angry replies, just peace. Because your energy doesn't belong in situations that drain you, your heart doesn't deserve to beg for attention, and your mind shouldn't stay stuck in loops trying to fix someone who made you feel like a burden. And the reason letting go without words hurts her more than anything else is because it gives her nothing to respond to. No drama to feed off, no reaction to flip back on you, no story to spin for her friends. And in that emptiness, she faces something she can't control. Your silence, your distance, your peace. And it speaks louder than any speech you could have made, louder than any post you could have written, because it shows her that she no longer has a role in your life narrative. And if you really want to master this, stop rehearsing conversations in your head that will never happen. Stop drafting messages you'll never send. Stop checking her page hoping to catch a sign of regret, and instead, accept this. The person you became in that relationship was a version of you that compromised too much, tolerated too much, waited too long, and your future cannot be built by the man who stayed stuck trying to fix the past, so you shed him today. Not with revenge, not with resentment, but with resolve, and it starts with boundaries you don't explain, decisions you don't justify, a path you walk without looking back, because the man who learns to let go without speaking is the man who has learned that peace is not found in what you say. It's found in what you no longer feel the need to prove, and if she ever circles back, trying to reopen old wounds or dig into your growth with apologies or curiosity, you won't flinch, you won't respond, because you've outgrown the desire to be understood by someone who never listened, and now you've become the kind of man who needs no validation to know his worth, no audience to witness his exit, no comfort from those who once caused chaos. And that kind of quiet exit echoes in ways she will never forget, not because it was loud, but because it left her with questions she'll never get answered. And that's how you win. Number 7. Focus fully on yourself. You've spent enough time watching her, waiting on her, hoping she'd see your worth, enough time scrolling through her posts, reading between the lines, wondering if she regrets walking away, wondering if she still thinks about you. And that cycle has done nothing but drain you of the energy you could have used to build the version of yourself you've always wanted to become. The man who doesn't sit in limbo hoping to be chosen, but instead wakes up every single day and chooses himself, chooses growth, discipline, clarity, chooses to build a life so full of purpose that thoughts of someone who made him feel small no longer have the power to derail his focus. And you know it's true. You know there are dreams you've put on hold because of her, opportunities you passed up because you were emotionally wrecked, routines you abandoned because your mind was too fogged up with her mixed signals, and now is the time you take all that power back. Not by confronting her, not by proving a point, but by finally locking in on you like your future depends on it, because it does. And no one is coming to save you. No woman, no friend, no apology. Just you and your decision to show up every single day like your life has meaning, even if she never acknowledges your worth, because you're done letting her presence or absence dictate how you feel. And now your new obsession becomes growth. Not to impress her, but to evolve so far beyond the version of you she left that even you don't recognize the man you're becoming. And it's not about the gym selfies or the hustle quotes. It's about rebuilding your foundation, brick by brick, day by day, with painful honesty and relentless work. It's about waking up and asking yourself, what does the man I respect look like? And then making choices that align with that vision. It's about saying no to distractions, to laziness, to emotional nonsense, and saying yes to structure, to progress, to habits that sharpen you from the inside out. And it starts with small steps. Waking up earlier, eating cleaner, deleting numbers that lead nowhere, tracking your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. And if you treat your time like gold, your life starts to change. Not instantly, but inevitably, because momentum builds. And soon, you stop caring if she watches your stories. Stop wondering if she's dating someone new, because your mind is so focused on what's ahead that you forget to look back. And people will notice. They'll see the change. And some will say you've gone cold, that you're not the same, and they're right. You're not the man who waits, who chases, who hopes for closure. You're the man who builds, who moves, who protects his peace at all costs. And when she finally realizes the man she used to control has become the man she can't even reach, she'll feel that shift like a cut. Not because you hurt her, but because you healed without her. And that kind of healing scares people who never expected you to outgrow the version of yourself they took for granted. And that's why you never go back. Not because you hate her, but because you've fallen in love with your evolution too deeply to risk losing yourself again. So from this moment on, every decision you make, every hour you spend, every word you speak, it all serves one purpose: building a life that is so aligned with who you're meant to be that you never again accept being an option, never again shrink for someone's approval, never again wait on someone who didn't value you the first time, because now you're fully focused on you. And that's how you win forever. If you've made it this far, then deep down, you know it's time. Time to stop living on her terms. Time to stop bleeding your value for someone who never respected it. Time to reclaim the man you were always meant to be. Society won't hand you this truth. They want you compliant, soft, chasing validation from women who laugh at your effort and discard your love. That ends today. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint isn't just a book. It's a weapon. Now available as an audiobook, you can listen to it while walking, training, grinding, building yourself back from the inside out. It's packed with timeless Stoic principles that will flip your perspective, transform your life immediately. The link is in the comments. If you're ready to break free, comment, "I reclaim my peace," like the video, and subscribe to help more men escape the trap and save themselves years of pain and regret.